Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show, bringing you your daily fix of football chat, although I'm not too sure you'll like the chat we've got for you tonight. The main topic, of course, we're not going to France 2016. Who's to blame? Is it the manager, the players, or are there other reasons why we've yet again failed to make a major finals? 9 attempts, and we're still waiting since 1998. We will look back at the 2-2 draw. We'll also discuss Gordon Strachan's future as Scotland manager. Alan Ruff is here alongside me, Peter Martin, and our Bootroom guest is a Manager of the Month.
The Bootroom, sponsored by Third Dimension Framing.
Queen's Park boss Gus MacPherson, Manager of the Month, and a man getting his side prepared for the Petrofac Training Cup, no less, at the weekend. One of only 4 games because of the international break affecting all the other clubs. Delighted to have Gus with us. OK, guys, we don't have a lot of time to discuss what went wrong or why yet again we are on the outside looking in at probably most of the British international sides heading to a major championships. Let me just say at this point, Ruffy, we're not good enough.
No, I think over the evidence, over the 9 games, the results are there for everybody to see. I think we are playing better football, if that's any consolation. I think we are a better side, but again, you know, you have to take a step back and analyse that the biggest failing was that we couldn't do what other teams did in the section. Republic of Ireland and Poland were good enough to beat Germany and Georgia. We weren't, and that was 6 points of a difference, which I think mattered in the group. But it is a huge disappointment, and as always, the next 2 or 3 days, the blame culture will come out, and people will be getting thrown in there. But for me, I think we're on the right road. We're in a better place than what we were. It's just that the disappointment's hard to deal with.
Yep, it's really one of those sore kicks, and again, it's something that we've become well accustomed to, Gus MacPherson. I mean, the manager, Gordon Strachan, said, you know, we needed that wee bit of luck. We've had a bit of luck along the way, but I mean, I could see it in that free kick last night. We're 2-1 up, and I'm thinking, only Scotland can go 2-1 up, and the Irish can be beating the world champions.
I was at the game last night with my boy. And after the game, I said to him, get used to it, because that's what we've had to put up with in recent... It's not even recent times, it just seems to be going on for so long, that so near, so far. But I agree with Alan that there has been improvement in terms of the quality of football. But again, the most crucial thing, you know, is getting results, and that's what we've just been lacking to make that final step to actually qualify. You see Northern Ireland, you know, being able to beat, you know, Greece, who only just a few years won the European Championship. So we have to get that winning feeling back into the group, and talk about style of play, which Gordon's changed. Very positive. There's been a positive mood within the country, you know, in terms of the style of football. But ultimately, like in any job, you've got to win.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Ruffy, I hope he stays. I think, as you guys have alluded to there, I think we are going in the right direction. Gordon's a good manager. He's got the country, you know, right behind him. I just don't think he's got enough of the talented players, or even one that was a standout, that he could work with and build a team around. I don't think he's got that, and that's no discredit to the guys who are giving their all, like last night.
No, and I think Gordon's held his hand up, that he knows that is the situation. We don't have a star man. We don't have somebody who's going to win games single-handedly. So that's why it's got to be a group. It's got to be a collective group that all work for each other. And we certainly have got that. When we saw it last night, even at 2-1, you know, they were all fighting for each other. The supporters were right behind the team. 2 fantastic goals. I mean, 2 incredible goals. But again, as you said, the result, and as Gus said as well, the results are important. You know, people don't look at the performance now. They tend to forget about the performance and just look at the goal that we lost and the result.
Yeah, I think the manager is vindicated in his team selection, because he picked players, and I sometimes think fans maybe you know, miss out on the point that he's trying to emphasise is you have to pick players, Gus, that are playing against top level players in a top level league. you know, because they know how to, you know, to handle the pressures of it. They also know what is required, and that's why, you know, I had no qualms with seeing Darren Fletcher in there. He's playing brilliant football again with West Brom. Matt Ritchie scores a wonder goal 2 or 3 weeks ago with Bournemouth. These guys are all playing at top level, and I was delighted for Fletcher to get that goal.
I was absolutely delighted for him. Like most people in football, when somebody's having a hard time, whether it be a player, coach, manager, you want them to have that final say from a positive factor. Stevens received a lot of criticism, his goals return, his overall performance, but last night I thought he led the line superbly, was fighting off scraps mainly in the first half, but he looked strong, gave the Poles 1 or 2 problems, and then the quality of his goal. You know, he worked his socks off, he worked really, really hard, sometimes isolated up front at times, but he showed the quality that we all know he's got. It's just been a frustrating time for him, but I think that just epitomises, you know, how difficult quality of player playing a good level, as good a level, if not higher. We're maybe a little bit ignorant. Sometimes the polls and think, but these are top players, you know, playing all over Europe in the best leagues in the world. And they know as well how to handle situations well, not just technically, but physically as well. And that's sometimes an area that Gordon touches on, is the physicality of the players.
Yeah, the one player that we didn't underestimate was Lewandowski. Minutes
in the game, you know, and the opening, it came a pass it to him, but he got it, and he's so comfortable. And
did you think Marshall was at fault, maybe at the near post?
not really.
No?
I mean, you in there, it's in the back of the mind, you know, that he's not going to try that. You've got to try and cover your near post, but I thought the finish was just
Space, the champ. At such an early stage in the game, there was nobody within 10-15 yards of him, you know, just driving right at the heart of our defence, and plays a fantastic through ball to Lewandowski.
Yeah.
But that was the main concern for me, you know, how he had so much space.
Yeah, and again, as if to highlight, you know, the type of luck we don't have at the moment, Ruffy. Only Scotland could come up with very much to score the equaliser.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do with that. You're just hoping you get a wee rub of the green, and even when the ball hit the post, it could have went anywhere, but it didn't. You know, it went into his area, and he was the sharpest to react of everybody. And again, that is a rub of the green for me.
Do you want to see Gordon Strachan stay?
Yeah, yep. Yes, most definitely. I think he's changed things around. I think he's got all the support back on board, the fans. He's got the players believing around the disappointment, and look forward to the next qualifiers, which is going to be even harder, because I think there's only 13 European teams qualify for the World Cup. So again, if we don't win the section, we're in the runners-up again.
Yeah, well, let's not put us on a downer right away, Ruff. It's only England. But Gus, never mind Gordon Strachan, you know, whether he's going to take the job or not. I don't know. I can't second guess him. I wonder if he was just waiting to see and analyse. He'll probably wait a good couple of days before thinking about the offer that's on the table for him. But if he doesn't take it, I don't see many candidates that I could write down that are shoo-in for this job.
I think most people would want him to stay. You know, they can see the steps that he's made and the positive aspect that he's had on the football and the country, really. You know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he decides enough's enough. He's a hard one to guess, you know, and Gordon. I think he's a very private guy, and even some of his press conferences, they're entertaining, but sometimes he's difficult to read in that situation. So I really don't know what way he's going to go with this. But you are concerned, you know, that you think, if he decides enough's enough, where do we look? Do we look down the national route? Do we look at a younger one? Do we go down the foreign route again?
Yeah.
I really don't know how we would go down that route.
I think the biggest part in Gordon will be what the reaction is for the fallout. I think he'll judge, you know, where the anger's coming from, if it's the support or the media or whatever. I just remember him walking away from Celtic because he didn't think he was getting the credit that he was due. and this might be the same thing.
Look at the group table for you. There's the table. There we are, fourth and out of it completely. Well done to the Republic of Ireland. They will get at least a playoff on this one. So that's how it looks. And of course, I know more than a few Scotland fans who are heading to Portugal for the big game against Gibraltar. I just think that might turn into just a big booze up to forget about.
Hi, I'm Chris Sutton. To win this beautiful signed shirt from me, which club did Celtic sign me from?
Hi, I'm Craig Turnbull, and don't forget you can watch the PLZ Soccer News headlines Monday to Friday by clicking on the link below.
Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show as we analyse the fallout from our disappointment of finals once again. Ruffy, we were talking just before the break about how we'd like to see Gordon Strachan take players coming through that would influence them to say I can get even more out of them. So I'm going to ask Ruffy that question. I'm also going to ask our boot room guest who was photographed standing on the top of the Hampden Stadium only about 24 hours ago. We'll get the inside track on that from our boot room guest Gus MacPherson.
The Boot Room, sponsored by Third Dimension Framing.
Yes, Gus, I have to say, unconfirmed reports when you were up there on the top of the Hampden Stadium, there was about 4 Polish families just getting in there ready for just to get a good view. I loved the line coming out from Scotland fans, irate that Polish fans had managed to get into the home end. Yeah. They're living here. Of course they can get tickets.
It was a look in Gordon Strachan's face in touchline when the boy came on and took a selfie with Lewandowski. He went, what's that? It could only happen in our park.
Gus, the only other one I was just about to say to you, at least in Gordon's day, when somebody ran onto the park, he knew they were coming for him.
I know, that's for his experience.
Now it's a selfie. I mean, the world's gone mad. But that just on that point, do we have players coming through? There are players there I feel sorry for. I feel sorry for, likes of a Darren Fletcher, who'll look at this campaign and you might think he can go on for another one, but there are players at the tail end who just cannot, like Barry Ferguson as well. When we look back at some of the other players who were trying to make it to major championships who are not going to make it. Do we have players coming through that could influence Gordon Strachan to say...
That may be the main factor in Gordon's decision. I would certainly suggest that the under-21 squad is in a transitional period as well, because there's a lot of younger players been put into that that's not tried and tested at that level, and then the jump, anybody would tell you, jump from 21s to the national team is massive, and I think we may talk about our domestic football, struggling, to a certain level because of performances in Europe if we take Celtic out of it. The challenge is for any younger player to step up to the plate and show they are capable of staking a claim. The easiest thing, I always say to young players, the easiest thing is to get in the team, whether that be the first team or even talking about the national team, is to get in it. The hard bit is to stay in it, because it's such a challenge, and that's how we've got a significant dropout of players, and we lose that talent, age group maybe between 20-24, they get into the first team and they think that's it. They stop developing. The other nations seem to continue to develop and become stronger physically and technically more aware of the game. Our guys don't seem to do that, and that's a real concern. That's not a recent thing. That's been going on for a few years. Yeah, absolutely. And listen, that would take another programme, Ruffy, longer than we have to discuss it. But quite simply, since 1998, I was trying to write down a list of things that will emerge over the next 24 to 48 hours and beyond. People will start saying, what are we doing wrong? And I can look, at 1,000,001 reasons, whether it be coaching, whether it be pro-youth, whether it be,
no reserve team football, the style of coaching of our players' ability to put the effort in technically to become even better players. There's a million and one reasons we could look at since 1998, and of course, there was the situation where a number of clubs, major clubs, just decided to go down a route of bringing in foreign players, and we lost about 2 or 3 generations of Scottish players that never got a kick at the ball.
Yeah, I would think that was the main one, the influx of foreign players, there's no doubt about that, and it meant that the homegrown Scottish players were obviously not getting a game. You've added quite a few things there. I think the reserve team football as well has got a big factor, and the schools football, but Gus will tell you, when I see teams coming to play us, they look more comfortable on the ball than us. And Gus will tell you, Gus's training methods will be the same as everybody else's. He try and do as much with the ball as possible, try and make the players feel comfortable on the ball. I just feel that teams, when they come and play us, are more comfortable. They're more comfortable in what they're doing, and I don't know if that's down to the training.
We try. Everybody, coach will work at the technical aspect of it, and there's a lot of work, through the SFA and the grassroots and development coaches. But we've got to look at the reasons why we don't make that up in that age gap. If we talk about 2024, because we lose so many talented players at that age. I think we probably spend more money than we ever have in investing in the youth side of it.
Yeah.
But the kids, the youth players now, have got so much more going on in their lives. Whereas when going back the clock, when you go 25, 30s, whatever, we were completely focused on football. These kids have got so much more to do. It's a different generation, it's a different mindset to how these players make it.
The funny thing is, Gus, I was going to buy into that on the basis of, people say, we don't play out in the streets anymore, we don't have that ability to, go out and play Rushy, or World Cup or whatever you call it, the games that we used to play, but they don't have it across in Europe in a lot of places as well. They just have the facilities.
We can't complain about facilities.
Yeah,
we can't. That's the best the facilities ever been. There's so much investment in facilities. We look at 3G pitches, 4G, 6G, whatever they are now. Yeah. They're on every street corner practically within the schools, so that we can't complain about facilities.
I've got to just say just before, and again, it's well worth a programme, coming up in the next few weeks to talk at great length. But well done, Northern Ireland. I mean, fantastic, Ruffy, for Michael O'Neill and so many of the players there. Stephen Davis, what a week he's had, scoring for Southampton, scoring a double, and again, another guy we've had on in the boot room, Josh McGuinness.
Yeah, I was pleased for Josh when that one hit the back of the net. He's went through quite a turbulent 2 years, trying to get a club and settle down, and then he got his chance last night and he scored, and all due to him, fantastic. But they again, are a team who all work for each other really, really hard. I have to say, I don't think they were in as hard a section as what we were in. There's no doubt about that. But they're there, and the results are there as well, and all the best to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a situation again. Republic of Ireland have put themselves in the box seat, destiny in their own hands. Northern Ireland, England, and Wales as well, and I think we'll need to just be booking a holiday in Disney World, Ruffy, yet again this year.
I can't. Paris?
Yeah, probably a good idea, Ruffy. Just so we can get near the championships. I can't let you go, Gus, without talking about the football at the weekend. Petrofac Training Cup, chance to get into the semi-final, which is something that I think has been a long time since Queen's Park have managed that. It would be great if you could get one over on Jim Weir. He's doing well there with Elgin.
Jim's done fantastic since he went into Elgin, probably November, December, last year. But both sets of players will look at it as a fantastic opportunity. We played Elgin recently, and we got a couple of breaks on the day, and we won 3-1. But they've got a good team. They'll come there and fancy their chances. But we've said to our players, what an opportunity! You're at home to have the opportunity to progress into a national semi-final, especially where these guys have came from. A lot of our players from junior football maybe missed, the boat in terms of coming into senior football earlier. We've given them that opportunity, and to go and play at the National Stadium and the International just 48 hours earlier, the playing surface will be immaculate. So looking forward to it, and hopefully the players are.
Yeah, absolutely, and you never know, Ruffy and I might run on and get a selfie with you, you know, because I don't think there'll be too much security there. Ruffy, he won't talk about it, but I think we should. You know, you look at some managers and how they've transformed teams. I think, you know, Gus certainly fits into that category as well. Sometimes we look further afield for managers when they're sitting on our doorstep and, you know, they've got all the experience in the world.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and Gus will tell you more than anybody when you're a manager and you believe that what you're doing is the right things, and you can be out of the game for a year or two. You just want to be back in there and get back on that ladder again, and certainly getting up the ladder is all about success and getting success.
Yeah, well, we're tipping Queen's Park because Gus is on.
Yes.
Peterhead, Stenhousemuir in the other game.
Peterhead for me.
Peterhead for me.
Yep, and St Mirren against Dunfermline, Gus. Oh, there's a tricky one for you.
I think that's a really difficult tie for St Mirren, because Dunfermline are scoring goals for fun, and there's a pressure situation already building at St Mirren Park, so I'll stick my neck out and go for a home win.
St Mirren for me.
St Mirren for you as well, okay. And of course, Gus, you know, if you do get past Elgin, anybody but Rangers or Livingston in the semis, I presume.
If we get through, I think the other clubs will be hoping for Queen's Park.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, if you get there, it would be great if the final was at Hampden as well, then you really would have it. But great to speak to Gus MacPherson. I'm sure we could have talked at great length about the problems, about why we're not making it to major finals, but we just have to support another country, and I'm not going to say which one I'm going to support, but Ruffy and I will certainly be looking on and cheering our home countries to France, even if we're at Disney World. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. If you enjoyed the programme and you'd like to see much more, click on plzsoccer.com. We've got archive programmes from Peter and Ruffy. We've got the Boot Room, Dream Team, all the latest up-to-date news in Scottish football and beyond. And you can win yourself a few prizes for the competitions on each of the pages. There's lots more content. All you have to do is click on plzsoccer.com.